So the Premier League is back. I'm going to run through all 10 Premier League fixtures from game week 1. I'm going to show you betting positions that I'm taking and ones that to avoid as well. I'm going to show you the stats, I'm going to show you the data behind these and show you a bit of the process of how to make smarter betting decisions from data. So I've been betting for the last 15 years. I've written betting content for Oddschecker, Squawker and Betting Odds UK. I worked for both Ladbrokes and Coral over the years. And for the last 6 years I've been betting full time and sharing selections with members. And I decided to make this YouTube channel to help show you guys how to bet a little bit smarter, make better decisions and show you a bit of the process behind all this. So let's kick off with Arsenal against Coventry on Friday night. So as we can see, Arsenal are priced at 1-5, the draw at 6-1 and Coventry at 11-1. Now, the price is a bit skinny on Arsenal. Obviously, they're massively favoured to get the win here. It looks like they've solved that problem on the left wing. They really struggled there last season, rotating between Martinelli and Trossard. But Solis looks an absolute player. He registered 2 assists against Man City. He looks a really good player. Probably one of the signings of the season it could be. And he's a good price for an assist. But I like the look of goals in this one. So particularly the unders. They're kind of, as we can see, Coventry finished with 95 points. They only lost 7 times last season in 46 matches. They were quite impressive and they're not going to be a pushover tonight. They did concede the least goals in the Championship with 45 goals in 46 matches, so less than 1 per game. And when you look back for Arsenal's wins, so they beat City 3-0, which probably flatters them a little bit. They only registered 9 shots in that match and managed to score 3 times. The chances they got were big chances and they took them. And they won 3-0 in the end. But if you look at these games, 3-0, 2-1, 1-0, all of their wins here, 1-0, 1-0, they're a very controlled team. And when they take the lead, they try not to give that up. They defend for their lives. And if you look back, the last 13 wins have all been under 4 goals. And I like the look of Arsenal to win under 4 goals. The next game we're going to look into is the Hull against Man United match on Saturday. It's the early kickoff. So let's look into Hull for a start. Hull were mightily lucky to make it into the Premier League last season. They finished 6th in the league, just scraped into the playoffs and somehow managed to get through. I think they're the first team in about 10 years to make it into the Premier League via promotion with a negative XG difference. So they actually conceded more chances, more better chances, more quality of chances than they did create, which doesn't bode well when they're stepping up into the Premier League. They're a side that since Carrick took over, they actually were top of the Premier League, which is quite crazy. So we want to get United on side here. Looking at the Asian handicap, which is -1.25 at 1.8. That basically means if they win by 2 goals, you win that entire bet. If they win by just 1 goal, you lose half of your bet because you have half your stake on the -1, half on your stake on the -1.5. Now, I don't see how United don't score a few goals against this whole side. They're not good enough for the Premier League, and I fancy them to finish 20th. They're a pretty good price, actually, finish 20th, around even money for that as well, which if you like putting down money for long term, that could be a nice bit of profit there. So yeah, United -1.25 is where I'll be looking to get involved on this one. So the next game we're looking at is the 3 o'clock kickoff between Everton and Palace. It's not one I'm too excited for. Palace have managed to keep hold of Adam Wharton and Ismail Assar, which is good news for Palace fans. Obviously, they lost Matt Guéhi at the end of last season to City. Apparently, Garner's not going to be fit for Everton. And obviously, Grealish has moved back to City, who was quite imperative to their early season last year, where his output was really good. It's not a game to get too involved with. The price is available. Everton are 6-5, which I think is a bit short. Palace are 3.25 or 9-4. You could look to get Palace on side. I think that wouldn't be a bad way in here. You could take Palace on the handicap plus a quarter at 1.95. So Palace games had the lowest amount of goals in the Premier League with just 92 across the 38 matches. Everton, not massively known for their attacking output. Could be quite a defensive side under David Moyes as well. And the goal line is fairly backable, under 3 goals at 1.91. That could be a way in, probably an avoid for me, but if you're looking to go in, I would probably side with Palace, draw no bet, or under 2.5 goals, or both. The next game we're looking at is Ipswich against Sunderland. It's quite an interesting one because Ipswich finished 2nd in the Championship and scraped in the automatic promotion places. They were 11 points behind Coventry, which is quite a big gap, and they could struggle this year. they're a short price to go straight back down, which I think is probably likely. They made a few signings which do improve their squad, but Sunderland are quite a solid side. They massively overperformed last season, finishing 7th, and they might struggle with the extra fixtures playing Europa this season, but they've got a secure team. Yeah, they managed to keep hold of Brian Brobby, who performed really well at the World Cup. He scored 3 times and led the line for the Netherlands. And he's 2-1 to score, 3.0. That could be a good price against an Ipswich side who probably going to concede quite a few in the Prem this season. So you could look at getting Brian Brobby on side to score. But the price for me is simply Sunderland draw no bet. They've got the market pretty balanced here between Ipswich and Sunderland, but backing Sunderland at 1.875 draw no bet means you get your money returned if it's a draw, you get paid out if they win. Sunderland, they only lost 12 times in 38 matches last season, whereas when you look at Ipswich's performance in the Championship, they actually only won 23 times in 46 matches, so they won exactly half of their matches in the Championship, and we're getting Sunderland draw no bet at almost even money. It looks a good way in with a secure side. They've kept hold of Xhaka, that's a big bonus as well. And Brobby, Laffy, Angulo. Yeah, they're a good side and they perform really well. I think I don't see them losing at Ipswich. Ipswich might give them a good game, but I think getting Sunderland on side is definitely the way into this one. The next game I'm looking at is Nottingham Forest against Leeds. Now, the market has Forest at 2.3 and Leeds at 3.1 for the win. Forest obviously lost Elliot Anderson to Man City and replaced him with Schlager in the middle. They managed to keep hold of Gibbs White, which is a big bonus, but they might struggle yet again this season. Leeds haven't made too many signings, but they've signed Harry Wilson, which is a big statement, really. He performed so well for Fulham last season. He had massive output. Without him, they might struggle quite a bit. They've got Anton Stack back. He returned from injury. He was a big miss for the majority of last season when he was out injured, but he returned back and he's a big player. He's going to be pivotal to their performance this season. But I'm looking at a different market here. So Dan Ndoye is one I'm interested in. In pre-season, he actually played up top with Igor Jesus. He scored against Leverkusen, played up top in the front two. And he also started another game up top against Barcelona with Jesus as well. And there's some good price on him for shots on target. Now, Dan Ndoye did get left out quite a lot last season, but it looks like he's eased his way back into this team, and if he does start up top, he looks a massive price for a shot on target. Look at this data. So for Switzerland in the World Cup, he is registering shots on target for fun. So 2, 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 1 in his last 7 matches for Switzerland. And if you scroll back further, his shots on target are excellent. And you can get him priced around 1.9 for a shot on target. So he's one to keep an eye on for lineups. If he starts up top, that's a massive price, and it's one I'll definitely be getting involved with. That's normally available on quite a lot of books nowadays. A lot of books offer shots on target, so that's something I'll definitely be looking at with this data. The next match I'm looking at is Brentford against Spurs. This is a really interesting game, and it's one I'm not too keen on getting too involved with, really. Spurs have signed a whole new team. They've signed Tonali, they've signed Fernandes, they've signed Van Hecker, who is a good signing. But Van der Ven, I don't think is fully fit. Oh, they've also got Robertson on a free, which is a fairly decent signing. But they did lose Spence, who's actually quite impressive at the World Cup. And I think he gets a lot of hate when he's actually fairly good. But whole new team, it's really tricky to know what to expect from this Spurs side. They're just so hit and miss, finishing so low last season and just scraping to fight relegation, which is crazy. So this Brentford side have managed to keep hold of Igor Thiago, Utara and Shada, who are a really good front three. Their output is pretty decent between all of them. They've lost Henderson, who knows what impact that will have on their side. But they've bolstered that midfield with Sangare, who's excellent. I watched him against Frankfurt in their 7-0 win, and he was mortally impressive. He did absolutely everything in there, and I think that's an absolutely great signing for them. He's going to bolster that midfield, and I think Brentford will perform well again this season. The market has Brentford as favourites for this at 2.4 and Spurs at 2.75. Really not too sure how this would go. If Spurs click, they could be good value, but it's just so hard to know this early in the season. Seeing how this team gels with a completely new side, it's almost a whole new start 11. So it's one for me where I'll probably just watch and not get too involved. Might in play if I see things happening, but yeah, for me, it's probably just a watch and see. So then we're on to the Sunday matches, and the first one is Brighton against Aston Villa. The market has Brighton as big favourites here as 2.15 and Villa at 3.0. I'm not sure that's entirely correct. I'd probably have it slightly different than that. So Brighton are going to be without Van Hecke and Dunk, it looks like, as well. I don't know if he's fully fit, but they lost Van Hecke to Spurs. They've replaced him with Vuskovic, who's meant to be a decent player as well. I've not really watched too much of him, so I can't comment too much on that. Baliba's likely going to United as well, so he didn't play too much last season, so he's not going to be a huge miss for them, and they're going to cash in some money there. There's a good angle here on Disciple. He's down to start at left wing here, and he played quite attacking last season anyway. He did start quite a few games on the wing, and he was really attacking for Belgium as well. He was getting into the box so much and getting shots off at goal. If he starts there, he could be a good way in to back him for shots or shots on target. And obviously Villa are depleted as well. They lost Tielemans to United, and Watkins doesn't look to be playing either. This was the case when they lost 2-1 to PSG in the Super Cup final. They're playing a pretty much similar team, which will likely start against Brighton at the weekend. I think Gomez is injured though, so he'll be replaced by Barkley, who's not the worst replacement in the world. They lost Konza as well, but again, they didn't play with him. They didn't play with Watkins either. But Villa were actually really good against PSG. They're unlucky actually to lose that game 2-1. I think for big spells, they were the better side. They actually outshot PSG 15 shots to 12, and they had 5 big chances to PSG's 3. So to finish 2-1, you could say they were fairly unlucky, but I thought on the eye they were really good. Even with missing those players, I think they're good to get a result here against Brighton, and at the prices I think it makes sense. So the Asian handicap have got Villa at plus a quarter at 1.925. So this means if it's a draw, you get half your stake as a win and half your stake returned. So you make a bit of profit. If Villa win, obviously you get a full payout. That looks the way in for me. Brighton are off the back of a 0-0 draw with Tromso midweek. And Villa, yeah, like I said, they performed really well against PSG. So I'd be siding with Villa here on the handicap, where you get a nice little bit of insurance. 1.925 looks a good play. And the other 2 o'clock kickoff on Sunday is Man City against Bournemouth. The market have Man City at around 1-2. It's a little bit short to get involved. I mean, if they still had Pep and Rodri, I'd probably be looking to get them on side here, but I'm not too sure if that's the way in. They didn't look very good against Arsenal. It's probably going to suit as well because Man City play such a high line. It's going to appeal to Bournemouth on the counter. Obviously, they've lost Areola to Liverpool, but they're still going to come out and attack this Man City side. And I like the look of goals here. So if you look back through the recent head-to-heads between these two sides, there's been both teams to score in all of the last 5. And you can take both teams to score on over 2.5 goals, around 1.8. That looks a good way in. I think City were vulnerable at the back against Arsenal massively. This Bournemouth side is still pretty unchanged. They've managed to keep hold of Alex Scott, which is a bonus. The main worry is Adam Smith playing at right back. He's going to get exposed quite a bit. But I think Bournemouth are good enough to get on the score sheet. And they're back in over 2.5 goals and both teams to score. Looks a good way in on this one. Wouldn't want to touch City at those odds, and I don't think I could back Bournemouth to get the win. So yeah, I think goals is the way in on this one. And the last game on Sunday comes from Newcastle against Liverpool. Now everyone's tipping Newcastle to finish bottom half and to be relegated and all sorts, and I think they've got a case for that. This midfield looks massively depleted. You're losing Tonali and Guimaraes, who are 2 of the best midfielders in the league. So there's going to be a big hole in that middle. Livramento is back in training, but I'm not sure he's going to be fully fit to start. Dedic is a good replacement. He's a decent player for the sign from Benfica, but he's very attacking. So he's going to be on the back foot for a lot of this game against this Liverpool side. So he may get exposed a little bit, whether they stick with Gakpo over on the left or Ngoma goes over there, but he's probably going to play on the right where he has in pre-season, with obviously Salah not being there anymore. This Newcastle side just doesn't fill me much confidence. Obviously they lost Gordon as well, which is a big, a lot of their attacking output comes from him. Harvey Barnes did have good spells last season, so he's not too bad to fill the boots there. But I can't see past a Liverpool win here, and it looks like it's quite a good price. You know, Newcastle didn't perform very well towards the end of the last season, as you can see here. They lost 6 of the last 9 games. And Liverpool are priced at around 1.9, which looks good getting them aside. I think they're going to start the season well. I think they'll be up there, and I think they'll finish in the top 4. So that's how I'd attack this game. I'd be siding with Liverpool at 1.9. And then on Monday Night Football, we've got Fulham against Chelsea. Now, I think this is going to be a really interesting watch. Fulham, a lot of people are touting them to be relegated, and they've lost a few players. specifically Harry Wilson, who had huge output for them this season. So it's going to be interesting how they cope with that. They've signed Garcia from Real Madrid and obviously lost Jimenez. He's gone back to Wolves. The thing is, they're very different players. Jimenez is there to hold up the ball and link players in. Garcia is a bit different to that, so it's going to be interesting to see how they adapt. Oscar Bobb's obviously a good replacement. He is still young, but he does look dangerous. This Chelsea side, though, they've improved quite a lot throughout. They obviously signed Morgan Rogers for a massive fee, which does add to their attack quite a bit. They've signed Lacroix from Palace, which is a decent signing. I think for the same price, they could have got Van Heck for the same kind of price. I think that would have been a better signing. But Lacroix is still decent. He's absolutely solid for Palace, so you know what you're getting with him. But the main one's Colville. Now they got him back towards the end of the season. That's almost going to be like a new signing for them. When he come back, he looked a class above everyone else. He looks so good. I think he's going to be massively important to this Chelsea side. Obviously, they've still got Sassedo and Enzo Fernandez in the middle. Cole Palmer's had the summer off, not playing for England. I've seen highlights of him training. He looks really sharp. And in this new system, João Pedro up top. João Pedro's got so much quality about him. On his day, he can be unplayable. So it's hard, again, to see past a Chelsea win here. And I think the price is quite nice. I think they're a good shout for top 4. People are even tipping them to win the league. They're a juicy price, and they could be worth getting on side this Monday night. So the market have Chelsea around 1.85. I think that's a pretty good price. I don't see Fulham challenging them too much. I think Chelsea are going to be a class above here. It'll be interesting to see how this Chelsea side adapt to the new system under Xabi Alonso. But they've got the players there to do it. So back in Chelsea at 1.85 looks the play for me in this game. I think they're going to be a class above Fulham. It's not going to be easy because Fulham are a tough side to beat. I just think the quality that this Chelsea side have now, and under Xabi Alonso, I think they're going to get the job done. They look a pretty good price to do so. So that's the way I'd be involved on this game. So that's a wrap for game week 1 of the Premier League. Hopefully you've enjoyed this breakdown, and hopefully there's some nice angles you can take and apply this to your own betting. And if you like this kind of content, subscribe to my channel. I'm going to be doing more of these throughout the season, so don't miss out.